What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to All Things Nerdy, and this is our Nerdy News Roundup where I sift through all the nerdy news and pick a couple that I think are noteworthy. So I hope you stick around and let me know what you think of the new show in the comment section below. We start off our news recap with some information coming out from Infinite Crisis, where they posted an article over on their website stating that they'd be shutting their servers down indefinitely starting August of this year. Now, as of this video, you can still go over to the Steam store and download Infinite Crisis if you're interested in playing it before it shuts down. I can't say, though, that I'm too terribly surprised that the services are being shut down for Infinite Crisis, as they didn't do a lot to innovate or push the envelope in a very saturated market genre that is MOBAs. You have your League of Legends, Smite, Dota, and now the released Heroes of the Storm, and that's not even including all the smaller, not well-known named MOBAs that are out there. Infinite Crisis took a rather lazy approach to creating their own MOBA, in the sense that they relied on their characters to sell or populate the game more than they did with their features. Now, if you're one of the few unfortunate people that went through and purchased any of the starter or heroic packs through the Steam store, Steam has announced that they'll be giving full refunds for these packs. If you are one of the even more few and unfortunate people that purchased any skins or heroes through Infinite Crisis' in-game currency, they have not announced anything as far as refunds go, but I can't see them offering anything back. And right now, MOBAs are such a saturated genre that I don't see any new ones coming out anytime soon. Of course, we did just have Heroes of the Storm release, which I have my own personal opinions about, but I don't see any new ones coming out. A YouTuber by the name of Total Biscuit actually hit it on the head when he was going through explaining why he believes that MOBAs are a hard market to crack, stating that with a free-to-play model you have a good and a bad feeling that are associated with free-to-play games. A good in the sense that you're not going to have to spend any money to get access to the game itself, but bad in the sense that if you are going to be playing it, to get a lot of the content, you're going to have to invest a lot of time. And even then, you may still end up investing a lot of money to get past certain hills or unlock certain content that you don't feel like grinding out to get. Now, we live in a world and an age where creativity is very, very scarce. You can just hop onto the internet and find ideas and things that have already been done all over the place. However, relying on somebody else's business model for a game is not the way to go, especially if you're just trying to use the characters of an already established universe like DC has. I believe there's two big things that any new MOBAs looking to come out need to do in order to be successful in this oh-so-saturated market. The first is they need to be not as punishing to new players. The learning curve can't be as high to anybody looking to break into this new game. Second is these games need to find a way to innovate or be their own style. Copying League of Legends or Dota or even Smite, seeing as it has its own style now, is not the way to go. Innovation or putting some sort of key features into your games is going to be what keeps players, or at least gets them interested enough to invest that big time that they're going to need to get around the learning curve. Moving on to Star Wars, Andy Serkis released this photo here and some information about his character involvement with Star Wars. Now, he's obviously in a motion capturing outfit and looking very menacingly at that, which would maybe hint towards the fact that he's going to be an evil character perhaps. Andy's very well known for his roles in motion capture between Gollum from Lord of the Rings and Caesar from Planet of the Apes. Now, with the picture release, he also came across with information that the character's name is going to be Supreme Leader Snoke. Now, first thing the internet did with that was throw into an outrage, which is what the internet is good at doing. But I think if you were to go back in time and take a look at news, if there were any news coming out about Star Wars, that the characters' names were going to be Luke Skywalker or Han Solo, Princess Leia, I think you'd have the same reaction. You wouldn't care for the names, but they grew on you. Well, it's very similar to the main character, or not the main character, but the main Sith-looking character in the trailers, whose name is Kylo Ren. That's a name that has grown on us, and we've come to accept it. It took us a little bit of time. The internet finally settled down and accepted it. I think that's the same thing with this. We don't know what kind of character this is going to be. He could end up being a Sith, but I personally don't believe he will be. I don't believe we will see a Palpatine type of Sith until maybe the second or third movie. What he could be is a potential villain to help us set in this new universe. Remember, this is taking 30 years after the last movie, so there's a lot of time and a lot of things that have happened. He could potentially be somebody who took over the Empire, sort of filling a role, taking over that leadership position. As far as my own personal predictions, I believe in the first movie we'll establish a villain, but not the villain. There won't be our Palpatine, or even, I think, our Vader. Somebody who to be that menacing character. I think we'll finally get him maybe towards the end of the movie or the start of the second one, but I don't think we'll be introduced to him just yet. But when we do, I believe he is going to be a villain like we have not seen in Star Wars yet. I think he will end up making Darth Sidious, Vader, Maul, all of them look very, very weak. Our last bit of news will come in very big for PC gamers. Steam announced that they're going to have a new refund policy. And by new, I mean they're going to have one altogether. Beforehand, Steam never had a refund policy, and Steam is the most popular method for PC gamers to get a hold of their games. Now, anybody who purchases a game on Steam has the option to return it under certain circumstances. If you purchased a game within 14 days, you have to make up your mind if you're going to keep it or return it, as well as you have 2 hours total of gameplay time available. If you go over that 2 hour mark, if you do go over this 2 hour mark, you will not be eligible for a refund. Same thing if you go over the 14 days, you will not be eligible for a refund. But it does prompt a interesting question. Shorter games like Portal, for instance, that are possibly beatable within an hour to 2 hours, should you be able to get a refund for them? Or does this mean the developer should produce longer games? And no matter the answer, I believe this is a good move on Steam's part for the consumer. I think that a lot of indie games and AAA titles are going to feel a little bit nervous because now they know that consumers have a little bit more power. Beforehand, again, you never were able to return any Steam games. So you had pre-orders out to wazoo on every game out there. Well, you can't get a hold of this character unless you pre-order our game, unless you want to buy it through a DLC later on. Well, now this means, for instance, like last year's Assassin's Creed, which was god-awful at its release. The game was completely unplayable. A lot of consumers, if this policy was in effect back then, would have been able to return the game, and that would send a shocking message to the developer: we don't like your game, this isn't playable. And now Steam's refund policy, I'm sure there's going to be many people out there who try to abuse it, but the process itself is not going to be the easiest. It's going to take at least 2 to 3 days to be able to get your money back. So those who are out there who are looking to possibly pirate it or try and maybe speed play through or get their as much value out of it as possible and then quickly return it, it's going to be a little bit of a process. It's not going to be something where you just click it and it's right back in, taken out of your library and your money is back in your wallet. But what it does do is help give more power to the consumer. Pre-orders don't mean a whole lot now if you are able to return the game. That pre-order means nothing. You get that pre-order to turn around and return the game if it's complete garbage. Game developers will have to go through and test their games out even more so now. Using the Assassin's Creed example, if it was released under this policy, how many people would be able to go through and return it is ridiculous. All in all, this only spells good for us consumers. We'll either be able to return the games we don't want or are not worth the money, or game developers are going to be more conscious of this and be able to put more work or effort into their games. Be sure to aggressively attack that like button and subscribe for more Nerdy News Roundup. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Stay nerdy and have a good one.